What's going on, Jets fans? It's your boy DT back. Wanted to give some extra thoughts about yesterday's game. I did a quick recap under 10 minutes, but wanted to give more elaborated thoughts with a night to sleep on it. Got to finish out my Sunday afternoon watching good competitive football in the 1 o'clock slate, the 4 o'clock slate. Even the Sunday night game was pretty competitive between the Lions and Chiefs, but the Jets, man, I just go back to them and you do a little bit of the rewatch and you just see how uncompetitive they are in most moments, whether it's offense being completely anemic or decision making by the coaching staff that's just handcuffing your guys and not even giving them a chance to win. And it's truly just upsetting. You don't know if this coaching staff is the staff that's going to lead our team to sustainable success like they preach. They say they want to put their players in the best positions to win, and quite frankly, it doesn't seem like that through 6 games. It feels like they're almost doing everything they can not to win, and I don't want to accuse them of tanking because I don't think that's the case, honestly. I just think that for the most part, these coaches don't know what they're up against, and they're almost in over their head a little bit. So coaching staff, first and foremost, I feel like is definitely letting this team down. I don't know if they're as talented as we love to believe, but I don't think they're, void of talent completely. I think that there's still pieces on this roster. It's probably about league average in terms of talent, especially when you factor in some of the injuries, but we see it around the league. There's just so much unknown with all these teams, right? The Chiefs battle back to go 3-3. The Ravens are 1-5 and look dead in the water. The Jaguars are 4-2 now, I believe, after the loss, but they look pretty good. The Seahawks are 5-1. There's so much that wasn't predicted even just a couple weeks ago. So it makes it hard to look at the Jets and say we're 0-6 and this feels right. Like none of it feels right, even compared to expectations on this team. You could have said they were going to start 1-5, 2-4, and that's fine. I had them starting 2-4 in my record prediction, finishing 7-10. But at 0-6, it's not even close to what we thought it was going to look like. The defense lets you down for most of the first 5 weeks, if not all the 5 weeks, and the offense plays okay enough. And then you have some blunders on special teams. Obviously, the costly fumbles and pre-snap penalties by the offense creeped in recent weeks. But then last night, or yesterday morning, I should say, it's defense back doing what the Jets defense has been doing, right? What we thought that this defense was going to be coming into the season, getting off the field on third down. They had 7 forced punts of the Broncos. 4 of those were 3-and-outs. The Broncos' first 3 drives to start the second half were 3-and-out punt, 3-and-out punt, safety, and then 3-and-out punt. The Jets defense was doing everything in their power to allow them back into this game. Obviously, they have the safety, which was Michael Clemens. He did a thing, right? He actually did a thing and drew a holding call in the end zone and got a safety for this team to go up 11-10, and get the ball back. You even get the fumble on the first drive. Jarvis Brownlee comes in and makes an immediate contribution as a slot cornerback, just that screen buster almost. He's really diagnostive and can break up plays before they really happen, and he seemed to be all over the field for this defense. So I loved Brownlee making a contribution immediately with the fumble. And then you flip over to the offensive side, and there's just no urgency. There's no trust. If you don't trust Justin Fields to make a read progression in a pass concept, and Justin Fields doesn't trust himself enough to do the zone reads and the mesh points and reading the end man line of scrimmage, if there's no trust in that system, it's never going to work offensively in today's NFL. You had 9 sacks of Fields. He had 9 completions, 9 of 17, 8 first downs. Like, that's a joke for an offense in the year of 2025. Congratulations to everybody watching this video. You ended yesterday with more net passing yards than Justin Fields did, because he had 45 passing yards, but surrendered 55 sack yards on 9 sacks. So he ended with -10 net passing yards. So congratulations to you guys for having more passing yards than Fields yesterday. Offensively, the run game wasn't going well either. 92 total yards, 3 yards per carry, so they really weren't getting anything going. But I think the biggest story is Fields holding on to the ball. The average time to throw on his sacks was over 5 seconds on average over those 9 sacks. That's uncompetable. Like you can't compete with that type of quarterback play. And it was written all over his face. There were several times the broadcast zoomed in on Justin Fields, and it felt like there was just no urgency, he was playing so, like, not lethargic, but just so lackadaisical with it, and he just seemed uninterested at times. And I'm not going to accuse him of being disinterested in the football game, but at the same time, you need more from your quarterback. You need to have some kind of competitive fire that is visible and tangible, because if we can't see it at home, I don't think the players in the huddle are seeing it play in and play out. So you have to go down swinging, give your team a fighting chance. And that's where I kind of pivot back to coaching with this game, completely stripping the team of any chance to win. Obviously, in the first half, you have that blunder in the 2-minute warning. I believe it's over 2 minutes with the ball. You run a play and run 38 seconds off the clock, get to the 2-minute warning. You even go for a fake punt on 4th and 1. You run it with Breece Hall on special teams, and they almost sniff it out, but you managed to get it. And it seemed like you were signaling to your team that you're going for points. You're trying to at least get a field goal, make it 10-9, or even try for a deep pass to make it 13-10 at the half. So that was the first error, and obviously Garrett Wilson was very vocal about it at half. He was in AG's ear, and he said it after the game. Once I knew what the plan was, I was very disappointed. And I think every Jets fan can, relate to that. They feel the same way. We're watching that game, and we're like, why are you standing there letting the clock wind down? The Broncos were taking timeouts on 3rd down just because they had no trust in this offense to make a play. And they almost didn't. They got to 4th and short, and then they had to sneak a fake punt with Breece Hall. So there was just no respect by the opponents even. And I understand it's Sean Payton and AG, which is a mentor-mentee relationship. So Sean Payton not having respect for a guy that he coached up and is under his coaching tree in this league, it's very telling on the type of coaching that we had yesterday. I was very scared. You were playing to lose the game. You weren't playing to win the game. And with your quarterback performance coupled with those decisions, the obvious choice was to go to Tyrod Taylor. I think many fans, myself included, were calling for it going into the half, because after that 2-minute warning, just fumble of an opportunity to try for points, it felt like Tyrod Taylor was the only way to spark a fire in this offense. And in my opinion, if you went to Tyrod Taylor, even on one of those drives in the second half, you could have gotten enough points to win that game 14-13. That's just my opinion. I genuinely think Tyrod Taylor would have gotten to the back of his drop, hit the open man, not watched Mason Taylor run open in the flat on 3rd and 5 and pump fake and not throw it to him, and then look to the middle of the field and then take a sack. So things like that, the out route to Garrett Wilson on the final drive, that 2nd down on the final drive, you need to be able to put that on his upfield shoulder, give him the chance to turn and go out of bounds, or at least cut up field and then go out of bounds. You have to put that in a position where it's receiver friendly. I understand Garrett had his hands on it, but he also contorted his body so much in yesterday's game trying to catch these passes that he hurt himself or further injured himself. So we're awaiting MRIs on him with his knee, and that's really frustrating because it really showed on that last drive when he was not out there exactly what this offense will look like. And unfortunately, it sucks with Justin Fields. You can go to Tyrod Taylor in this game against the Carolina Panthers, but the time to do it was in this game, right? You wanted to go and make the switch to Tyrod Taylor in game, and then you say, okay, now we're going to go back to Fields against Carolina because we still think he gives us the best chance to win. I feel like that was such an easier way for this coaching staff to handle the quarterbacking situation. I understand you don't want Justin Fields looking over his shoulder, thinking he's going to get benched anytime he doesn't perform well, but I wouldn't be surprised if Fields even admitted that going to Tyrod might have given the team the best chance to win in that moment. Like, there was just no confidence from Fields and no trust from the coaching staff in Fields to do what they wanted to do. So just an unfortunate situation, because I think it would have been the smart move to go to Tyrod, and then you can easily pivot back to Justin to start the Carolina game. And, he could have a completely different performance next week, but now the lack of confidence going into the loss and now going into this next week with all of the questions from the outside about should Tyrod play. I believe it was Connor Hughes of SNY putting out that multiple players in the locker room think that Tyrod gives them the best chance to win. Now, I don't know if those are offensive players or defensive players specifically. He didn't mention any names. Obviously, he's not going to. But the fact that people even think that Tyrod Taylor gives you the best chance inside that locker room tells me that decisions like this are going to start to create a fracture at some point. If you continually make the wrong decision from a personnel perspective in a game that you are so close to winning and you're controlling for the most part of the second half, you let up one field goal drive that ended up being the killer because you couldn't generate any points as an offense. So just a tough look for the Jets. They're going to come under a lot of fire this week, AG included. He's already walked back the first half decision in his press conference earlier today, saying that was a mistake. He should have tried to go for a Hail Mary in that situation instead of standing there and letting 28 seconds wind off the clock. They also wasted a timeout in the fourth quarter with 10 minutes and 23 seconds left. They were facing a 4th and 1, and they take a timeout and end up punting it anyway. In that situation, save your timeout, take a 5-yard penalty. You can still punt the ball and play field position. That's fine. And then you have 3 timeouts to work with on defense when you're trying to stop the clock and get the ball back. Obviously, when your offense is doing absolutely nothing, it doesn't matter. And the defense still was able to get off the field and give them over 2.5, I think 2 minutes and 20 seconds maybe in the fourth quarter on that final drive. And you're still not able to do anything with it because Justin Fields holds the ball for 5 seconds and gets sacked. So just an all-around failure of a game. And I joked earlier in the week on Jake Asman's show that I would take a 10-9 loss from the Broncos because then it showed that the defense stepped up and did their job and that the offense couldn't get anything going against a really good defense. And I'm not going to take anything away from the Broncos defense. They're still very good, top in the league. It didn't feel like the Jets were losing because they were playing an elite defense. They felt like they were losing because they had incompetent quarterback play coupled with egregiously bad head coaching decisions and honestly offensive play calling decisions. How many times do we need to go condensed 12 personnel and run the ball up the middle for 2 yards on first down and set up a 2nd and 8 when your quarterback should be going spread, RPOs, reading the end man of line of scrimmage, trying to do the best he can to use his legs as well and not just being a sitting duck back there. So just all around, I guess, just a stinker from the head coach, quarterback, offensive coordinator, a stinker game in a moment where you needed to just have some competence in your decision making and your players. And I felt like they didn't have confidence in the quarterback and they didn't have confidence in their play calling, and they played the most conservative, trying to lose football effort that we've seen. And they really wasted an opportunity where this defense played their heart out. Jermaine Johnson comes back and he's an instant spark up front. Jarvis Brownlee Jr., one of the newest Jets on this defense, is already, making a huge presence. They started Malachi Moore over Tony Adams. They were doing some of the personnel decisions that we thought they were going to do, and we've been asking them to do. This was not a game where, you would have thought Steve Wilks was on the hot seat coming into the game. You would have thought it would have been Tanner Engstrand, the way that this offense looked. So I'm happy that the defense turned it around, and maybe we can get into more of the positives later this week about the defense specifically, but the offense just absolutely brutal. And I wouldn't blame anybody for saying they can go to Tyrod against the Carolina Panthers and have the better chance to win. But my thinking is that you had to go to Tyrod in this game to salvage the game, and then you could have easily pivoted back to Justin for Carolina. Now it feels like anytime Fields starts slow to begin any of these games down the next 11 for the rest of this season, you're going to have people immediately say, go put Tyrod in, or, we have no chance. And that's how it feels sometimes with Justin Fields. He's in the game, he's there, he's alert, he's playing well, and then there's games where he just looks out of it, disinterested, not ready to play at all, and it's all over his face, and it doesn't give the offense a really good shot to win. And we need complementary football at this point. We almost need perfect football at this point, and we almost got it on the defense. I know they allowed a wide open touchdown Jamie and Sherwood kind of got picked on, but for the most part, everybody did well. Even Michael Clemens was containing the naked keepers. JJ, Will McDonald on the end. They were doing well against those bootlegs by Bo Nix, not allowing him to, layer a throw over them or sneak around them for an easy gain. So there were a lot of positives defensively to take out of it, but the overarching theme is going to be this head coach looks like he's in over his head. You have a quarterback who really can't make any throws, and now it's going to come under scrutiny every single time he makes a bad pass or there's a 3 and out. And it's justified. Unfortunately, we've seen enough of a sample size now, 2 games where he's just completely out of it, Buffalo, and now this game. And you can, say he had really good games against Miami and Pittsburgh, and he did really good things in those other starts. But if you don't know what version of Justin Fields you're getting week in and week out, and you can kind of sense the game you're getting from him early on, second quarter, you can sense the kind of game you're getting from him, you have to make the head coaching decision for the team to make the switch, to at least show that you're going to go down without a fight. Don't just stand there in the captain's pit with the sinking ship and just stand there holding the steering wheel and say you have no control over it. You have the control. You can at least try to throw water overboard and try to, save your ship from sinking. And I think these are the moves that are going to fracture your locker room if they continue. So those are my thoughts. More deep into this game, I will be on with Buffalo tonight. Now that my flight got canceled in New Jersey, I will be in a new setting, but I will be with Buffalo tonight on his podcast that should be releasing tomorrow publicly. So stay tuned for that one. Hit the like button on your way out. I know the team doesn't necessarily deserve it. I certainly appreciate all the engagement, all the support. Hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 2,000. I appreciate everybody for hopping on. This has not been a year where making content has been easy, but I certainly appreciate everybody tuning in, giving me their thoughts. I'm going to be as open and transparent and honest about this whole process as we go. And $4.99 a month will get you A1 since day one tier. I've kind of been slacking on the exclusive content because this offense doesn't really give us much to show, but I have some clips that I am going to put in there when I get back home to South Carolina. I have a Mason Taylor cut up and some defensive cut ups that I want to add in there. So $4.99 will get you some exclusive content. I certainly appreciate it. I'm DT. Enjoy the rest of your Monday afternoons, and until next time, let's go Jets.